welcome to our English news coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, the top stories of the news. The political and economic crisis goes on in France after demobilization covered in a bad way and severely castigated by specialists and unions. The two-state declaration is overwhelmingly endorsed in New York, calling for the end of genocide in Gaza via a first, sustainable and peaceful way. Morocco is once again jolted by social turmoil, with citizens taken to the street to call for a decent life. Hello and welcome once again to our news. First in our news, nearly 200,000 people joined protests across France on September the 10th, sparking festive debates, political unease and warnings of an economic downgrade. Coverage by FF Belhouchet, taken up by Melissa Lila Balaman.
France is still reeling from September 10th. Nearly 200,000 demonstrators took to the streets, according to the Interior Ministry. Officials logged 850 actions nationwide, 596 rallies, and 253 blockades. On TV talk shows, the fallout was raw.
Oui.
We've been saying for 10 days this was the start of an insurrection. Protests, yes. Riots, no.
Oui, la chienlit, non.
The only political messages we've heard are far left, revolution and violence.
La violence.
Others were blunt. You hate it here? Go somewhere else. Arguments raged over whether the mobilization was a success. Independent outlets pointed to the numbers.
Le ministère de l'Intérieur a recensé.
The Interior Ministry counted 175,000 across France. By that standard, it's bigger than every Yellow Vest rally, except the very first one.
Tous les mouvements de Gilets jaunes, sauf le premier épisode.
Politics carried on regardless. A new prime minister promised a collective project. On the streets, distrust deepened.
Je pense que c'est une catastrophe, en fait, je suis largement dégoûtée.
It's a disaster. The country's deteriorating. They fire prime ministers only to bring them back, and the president looks down on the French.
Les ministres, on remet les mêmes. Moi, je suis consternée par un président, en fait, qui a l'air de dénigrer les Français.
Parce que la France va devenir, je pense qu'avec le...
With this assembly, nothing will change. The only way forward is dissolution, or worse.
Plus loin. Et je ne vois pas d'autre solution que la dissolution ou même plus.
C'est très compliqué actuellement, quoi, en France.
It's complicated. The political and economic situation is bleak.
La politique, elle n'est pas très réjouissante, malheureusement.
The economy is also holding its breath. France's AA- credit rating is under threat. A downgrade would push French debt out of the high-quality bracket into upper medium grade, symbolic for the new government and potentially costly. And while leaders consult in Paris, local collectives are already planning the next showdown, a general strike on September 18th.
Still in France, the CGT has launched a blistering attack on France 2, accusing the state's channel of biased, court-style journalism after its September the 10th primetime news reduced nationwide protests into a security story while downplaying social demands and police violence. Melissa Lila Balamal once again.
Bonsoir, bienvenue dans le 20h, très heureuse de vous retrouver.
Pitiful and contemptuous. That is how the CGT slammed France 2's primetime news on September 10th, anchored by Léa Salamé, journalist and partner of Raphaël Glucksmann, co-president of Classe Publique. The union accused the public broadcaster of doing palace PR instead of journalism, with a stale, partisan editorial line that treated viewers like fools. The September 10th protests, it said, were reduced to a law and order story. Viewers were told, police are cornered. The clash lasts 15 minutes. Further on, they defend Gare du Nord. Nationwide, 175,000 people marched according to the Interior Ministry, fewer than during the first Yellow Vest weekend.
Le ministère de l'Intérieur, moins que pour le premier week-end des Gilets jaunes.
France 2 went further, claiming the Yellow Vest revolt had helped police improve. The CGT called that a distortion, pointed out the broadcast ignored years of police violence under Macron. Protesters maimed, blinded, and 3 deaths since 2015. The network kept drawing parallels with the Yellow Vests, while skipping the core demand of the new Bloquons tout, or Shut It All Down movement, Macron's removal. We've had it with Macron. Pensions aren't going up. He just wants us to starve. There are more prime ministers than years of school I've got. It's getting ridiculous. France 2, the CGT argued, flattened this anger into a simple nuisance for workers and commuters.
Les esprits commencent à s'échauffer.
Why block everyone for this? We just want to get to work. An extra hour on the road for that. I never asked for it. The union said the coverage crossed into outright manipulation, burying social demands, erasing the causes of unrest, and painting Shut It All Down as vandals or black blocs instead of ordinary citizens with legitimate grievances. You sound very left-wing. Does that mean the movement is left-wing? When we met in assembly, nobody asked, "What are you?" We're simply in this fight together. The CGT also accused France 2 of covering up threats to press freedom. The newscast ignored an Interior Ministry memo issued this summer that stripped reporters of their protected status during unrest, leaving them as vulnerable as protesters. And the union blasted the segment on Cardinal Bustillo, who urged people to move beyond class struggle as an effort to drain the political edge from the social debate.
To another story now, the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly endorsed the two-state solution declaration, which calls for ending genocide in Gaza via fair, sustainable and peaceful way. The declaration was adopted by 142 members, 10 against and 12 abstentions. Another people is enduring oppression, namely the Sahara people struggling for independence. This right was evoked by NGOs during the international conference held in Geneva, which stressed the need to help the last colony in Africa to get the right to self-determination. More indications in this concise report. The plight of Sahrawi political prisoners in Moroccan jails, compounded by a mere blackout orchestrated by the Moroccan occupation, was at the heart of discussions during the 60th session of the UN Human Rights Office held at the UN headquarters in Geneva and the auspices of several international NGOs. A series of conferences were organized to raise alarm over systematic violations in the occupied Sahrawi territories and to call on the international community for urgent action. One continues to shield those responsible for grave abuses who to this day enjoy complete impunity. South Africa also made its position clear. Its permanent representative to the UN condemned what she described as Morocco's apartheid policy against the Sahrawi people, highlighting the systematic use of torture, unfair trials and the criminalization of Sahrawi identity. This refusal reflects Morocco's determination to prevent any independent monitoring of the human rights situation in Western Sahara. It only reinforces concerns about respect of the fundamental rights of the Sahrawi people. The conference, which brought together numerous NGOs and human rights defenders, unanimously underlined the urgency of international mobilization. Participants stressed the need to increase pressure on the relevant authorities so that the Sahrawi people's right to self-determination is finally upheld in line with international law. And social turmoil is taking a new serious turn in Morocco as citizens are taken to the street to denounce misery and marginalization, being deprived of the basic needs, including access to education and healthcare. More insights in this concise report. The situation in the town of Ait Abbasi in Morocco's Azilal region has become so unbearable that residents have taken to the street to denounce exclusion and marginalization. For them, patience has reached its limit, and the Makhzen regime's attempt to stifle their voices have proved to be useless in the face of citizens determined to take their destiny into their own hands.
تجمعها كلمة واحدة وجمعتنا المعاناة.
We represent the inhabitants of Ait Abbas who suffer daily from poverty and marginalization. We, our families and our children live in extremely difficult conditions. We have nothing, no school, no hospital. As so often happens, their protest was met with repression, the standard response of the Makhzen whenever demonstrations or strikes are organized. Yet once again, the inhabitants of this isolated region insist on demanding their right to a decent life. The Constitution guarantees even Moroccan the right to education and health. Aren't we Moroccans? We have been asking for a middle school in our region for decades. The situation, which has dragged on for far too long, reflects the plight of entire Moroccan regions left in isolation, their populations marginalized and forgotten, and calling for justice and urgent solutions to their legitimate concerns. Back to Algeria to delve into the realm of sports. Mouloudivarji secured a 1-0 victory in Bijaya by defeating the side of Aqbu as part of the fourth week of the National Football Championship. With the same result, AS Ben Aknoun beat Paradou AC, and the third game of the day, bringing together MC Oran to GS Kabylie, ended in favor of the former with 2-0. Let's follow the highlights of these games.
الدخول والتوغل مسوسة ما زال دخل مسوسة الأرضية يا سلام أول أهداف المباراة على طرف الأيسر جاءت من مسوسة دخل مسوسة توغل مسوسة
صعبة قصيرة رائعة جدا من سعد عبد الجليل الذي يتمكن من افتتاح باب التسجيل.
الكرة لعزيز مولاي لعناصر مولودية طهران، الدخول في منطقة الجزاء، هنا المحاولة، هنا الفرصة، هنا الهدف الأول لمولودية طهران. شباك جياس تهتز، شباك شبيبة القبائل تهتز. يفشل، هل يصيب أم يخيب؟ بوخلد يصيب، وبأي طريقة يأتي بالهدف الثاني، بوخلد بالبانينكا يسجل ثاني الأهداف، يمنح الانتصار لمولودية طهران في هذه اللحظات الأخيرة.
Mouth-watering goals. And from sport to the realm of culture, the international workshop devoted to world legacy wound up after days of debates during which experts exchanged views and shared experiences related to the natural and cultural sites. The event was held on the sidelines of the 2025 IATF, marked as well by an African workshop dedicated to African creativity. Melissa Lila Balaman tells us more.
The International Training Workshop on the Preliminary Assessment of World Heritage Site Proposals highlighted Algeria's commitment to protecting humanity's shared heritage. The event brought together experts from several countries to exchange experiences and strengthen skills in preserving cultural and natural heritage. The theoretical part presented the methodology for preliminary evaluations, while the practical sessions had each participant introduce their country's case file. The workshop's first result was training African and Algerian experts to master the new inscription process and prepare their own proposals. At the Culture Palace, African Creative Days were also held on the sidelines of the Inter-African Trade Fair in Algiers, bringing together Algerian and African creators. It was both a tribute to Africa's youth and a chance to showcase innovators building bridges between peoples.
هو تتويج على مستوى إفريقي.
This is recognition at the African level, proof that Algeria has a platform capable of driving momentum in the animation industry.
اتجاه معين في صناعة أفلام الرسوم المتحركة.
The juries are African. The aim is to introduce them to our gastronomy. In honoring you, we recognize excellence, determination, and initiative. Through you, we also honor Algeria and its role on the continent. I warmly congratulate you for the success of the Intra-African Trade Fair and for winning Best Pavilion at this prestigious event. This is an important achievement for Algeria. The gathering ended with a blend of heritage and creativity, reflecting Algeria's role in Africa. The country remains committed to preserving its legacy while embracing the continent's cultural diversity.
That's the end of it. Keep tuning to our channel programs. Take care and bye-bye for now.